Bhawanipur Education Society College is proud to reveal the Bhawanipur way of life, learning for leadership and liberal values.
Effective communication. Hello BItes, welcome to this video which will help you to enhance your personality. My name is Richa Maheshwari and this is your daily dose of learning at Bhawanipur College. So stay tuned. Agenda. Well friends, in this particular topic of effective communication, we would be looking at first, what is communication? Second, what are the challenges that one faces while communicating? Third, what are the types of communication? Verbal, spoken, non-verbal, tone, pitch, volume, voice modulation, etc. And the fourth important thing is effective tip to develop self-confidence for communication. Well friends, we are also going to take a look at quick tips to create magic in your communication. So friends, what exactly is communication? Well, the definition is the imparting or exchanging of information by speaking, writing or using some other medium, sharing of thoughts, emotions, information, etc. In exchange, the person you are communicating with responds to you, verbally or non-verbally, text format or whatever may be the best medium for him. One of the tips I'm going to share with you is to create magic in your communication by ensuring that you respond to any communication within 24 hours. You need to reply to a message. If you have missed the call, call back within the next 24 hours. Now, we're going to quickly look into the basics of communication principles. If you follow these principles, you can be sure of quality of your message to enhance dramatically and drastically. Applicable to both verbal as well as written aspects of communication. The first is the 7 C's. Well, the 7 C's stand for clear, concise, coherent, concrete, courteous, complete and correct. Now let's talk about all of these 7 C's in a little detail. What do we mean by clear? Well, in terms of goal of your message, what do you want to communicate? Example, transfer of information or seeking input, seeking solution, etc. You need to be clear about what you want to say. The next is concise. Well, concise means to stick to a goal of the message. The receiver is likely to hold attention to your message for the first few minutes only. The first few lines in terms of written communication are very, very essential. Hence, I'd like to give you a tip over here. Follow KISS, which means keep it short and simple. The next thing we're going to talk about is coherent. Well, coherent really means stick to one point or a goal. Mixing the topics in one conversation creates absolute confusion in communication. In case if you have to discuss a lot of things, mark it number-wise. Example, in the start of the conversation, you can say, there are a few things I would like to discuss with you. First, second, third, and so on and so forth. The next is concrete. Well, your communication should be backed by facts, data, figures in terms of numbers, time, quantity, etc. Example, you quite often say, I will get back to you on this. Well, the problem with this response is that the other person is clueless now about your timelines of responding to their request and message. A more appropriate response can be, I shall get back to you by tomorrow morning or by 11 a.m. or end of the day today. Now, here are key things to be more specific. Courteous. Treat people or speak to people the way you would want to be treated or spoken to. Addressing correct greetings and salutation. Always use the golden words like thank you, please, I'm sorry, I apologize, may I, etc. It's also important to be making sure that your communication is correct. Technically speaking, your grammar, spelling, everything needs to be intact and correct. Correct pronunciation is very essential to verbal communication. Now, while communication, you may or could face certain types of barriers in which you find it difficult to transfer your communication to the other person. Let's take a look at what these barriers in communication are. The first barrier is the language barrier. Well, the person you're speaking to might not understand the language that you're speaking in. So whether it's English, Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati, Punjabi or any foreign language like French, Italian, etc., you need to make sure that the person understands your language. The second important thing to remember is physical barrier. Well, here we can talk about bad networks. In face-to-face communication, it could be loud surroundings or noise in the surroundings, etc. So hence, choose a quiet place in this case. The third barrier we can talk about is semantic barrier. Well, it's the way we pronounce words. It can get difficult for someone to understand. Hence, avoid too long sentences and also avoid jargons. The fourth barrier is emotional barrier. Not wanting to hear or engage with the topic can also be a barrier in communication. Well friends, we will now look into spoken communication. Example, the words we use to communicate. Here, I'd like to add a tip. Another effective way to create magic in your verbal communication is always address people by their name. Remember, to everyone, their name is the sweetest word on this planet. So always address by name. The second thing you need to use is always use proper salutation. Example, Mr. Vivek Sharma. Proper way to address is Dear Mr. Sharma or just Vivek. Mr. Vivek is wrong salutation. It is always to be noticed that title should be followed by the surname of the person. Well, coming to ladies, if you're not sure what kind of salutation title is to be used in case of a lady, either you want to use Mrs. or Miss. Well, a golden rule is to be safe and address a lady by Miss, which is M-I-S-S or just M-S. Now, relevant titles to be used for relative professions. For example, a doctor or a professor should be used by addressing them with these titles only. So friends, now we're going to talk about how do you enhance your spoken communication as well as oral communication. Well, keep your speech simple, clean, clear. Ask questions to check your partner's or listener's understanding. Paraphrase your words if necessary to clarify the meaning. Now, the way one sounds, you have to make sure that you use these certain tips I'm going to share with you now. Energy. Well, the energy in your voice reflects your attitude and your enthusiasm. Ever notice the difference when you smile and say hello, and the other person can actually feel the smile in your voice? Because we all have energy and we all are human beings where we communicate while we are transferring our energy to the other person by means of communication. Now, you also need to make sure that your rate of speech. Your rate of speech should be normal. A normal rate is 125 words per minute. Speaking faster can create concerns. Well, every individual has two rates of speech. One in which he speaks and the other in which he or she can comprehend. That is, understand the sentences. Now, both can vary from individual to individual. While some of us are fast speakers, however, we find it difficult to grasp when someone speaks really fast to us. We may request them to slow down or ask them to repeat what they have just said in order to have a proper understanding. The next thing you need to keep in mind is your pitch. Now, this can be monotone, a low or a high pitch. You should definitely vary your tone. Now, here's a trick I'm going to share with you. Take a deep breath in and try to make ah sound. While exhale again, make another ah sound. Did you notice the difference? The latter one is a low pitch, which is preferred to speak in which you appear more warm and friendly to the other person. And the former one is a high pitch, which when you speak, you may get tired of speaking and you can come across as nervous while talking. So go ahead and practice that right away. The next thing you need to keep in mind is the quality. Well, the above three factors, or rather the three factors I'm going to tell you about, is something which will help you to make a good voice quality. So let's practice. Let's say each of the words in the quotation mark in the following sentence. Hello. Now say hello to a friend, or to a friend who you haven't seen in the last 3 years. Say hello to a neighbor that you don't like. To a 6-month-old baby. To someone you have just found doing something that they shouldn't. Or to someone on the phone when you're not sure if they're still on the other end or no. Now, I would really want you to practice that and see the difference for yourself. Did you see the difference, the way hello sounded in each of these different scenarios? That's the power of your voice, and use it to the best of your ability to transfer the knowledge and the message. Now friends, I'm going to share with you a few tips to develop confidence in the way you communicate. The first important step is to practice. Practice the sentences that will be required for daily communication. Practice what you're going to say. Second, breathe. Well, it's important to regulate your breathing, which can help you in order to maintain the rate of your speech. Taking few deep breaths before starting a conversation can be extremely helpful. The third thing you need to do is visualize. Lie down or sit comfortably in a quiet place. Breathe slowly, close your eyes, picture yourself speaking with confidence. Well, I'm sure you got that one right. The next thing you need to do is expect to be nervous. Well, if nervousness or shyness is an issue whenever you're communicating with others, think of the other person as if you know him already or have already met him before. And this will help you to take the pressure off for that particular moment. Well friends, to summarize this particular module on effective communication, these are the following things that you have learned by the end of this module. The first thing we learned is basic principles of communication, the written, spoken, etc. And we also learned about the 7 C's, which is clear, concise, coherent, concrete, courteous, complete and correct. We also spoke about how to improve the quality of your spoken communication. The way I talk or sound is by focusing on my rate of speech. To maintain the average rate of speech and energy, volume and control over my breathing. We also spoke about the tone of my voice. We need to bring in variation in our tone, or else we may sound completely flat and boring in a few minutes of our conversation. Well friends, I do hope you have enjoyed listening to this particular video, and please keep watching. There are more videos coming your way. Till then, thank you so much for watching us.